Hello, I'm Porter Watts. My last lecture is titled Healthy Obsessions. I just had a profound realization. Sam Vick is obsessed with me. He's obsessed, and I don't know what to do. I can't say people being obsessed with me is a common occurrence, so admittedly, I don't know how to react. It certainly feels weird, and it can't be healthy, right? I mean, the Maeser literature is pretty clear on obsessions. Jay Gatsby, Huck Finn, Javert, Shylock, all found out the hard way that obsessions aren't healthy. Hyperfixating on one thing creates too many blind spots in your life, and you frequently forget to stop and smell the roses. However, there are some good things that come with obsessing over one thing. It creates an attention to detail and an expertise on said thing. I can say there are definitely pros with Vicky's obsession with me. I have never had a more healthy and balanced self-esteem. I bring all the self-doubt, and Vicky brings the hype. Whenever I have questions about some completely random literature, why go to Google when Vicky is so much more interesting? Got questions about German philosophers? Or what's the deal with the Catholic Church? Vicky's your guy. I often go about my day on autopilot. I don't really think about what impact I'm having, so long as it's not a bad one. That being said, I can always count on Vicky to tell me I'm doing a good job, and I'm inspiring him to be a better person. I now realize this is the most productive, positive feedback loop ever. Vicky tells me I'm doing good. It makes me happy. I continue to do good. Vicky tells me I'm doing good. This obsession has cemented Vicky as one of my good friends, and he makes me a better person more than I could ever do for him. I strive to be able to disagree without being disagreeable, and I'm pretty good at it, but that's because I've gotten lots of practice with Vicky. This obsession has borne the fruit of meaningful discussions about social policies and geopolitics in a way that I couldn't achieve with anyone else. The logical conclusion from this lived experience is to find someone to obsess about. Maybe someone has already come to mind. Maybe you already have an obsession. For those of you who don't, this doesn't need to be a weird or hateful obsession. In fact, it shouldn't. Javert and Shylock show us why those obsessions are bad. And it shouldn't be a romantic obsession. Thank you, Gatsby. You don't need to stalk someone. Please, don't stalk someone. Keep your obsessions healthy and uplifting. Find someone you admire and make it your mission to let them know how awesome they are. Everyone deserves friendship and camaraderie. Sam Vick is obsessed with me, but it's so much bigger than him or me. It's the fact that the relationships we build have an astounding impact on us, and they are built on healthy obsessions on each other's well-being. I am obsessed with Vic. I am obsessed with Jacob Muhlstein. I'm obsessed with Alex Curtis. With Alex Curtis, I'm obsessed with Maeser. I encourage everyone to join me in my healthy obsessions.
Just because other kids my age like blue doesn't mean I also have to like it. I whined to my mother as we paused our perusing of the aisles of the legendary Dick's Sporting Goods. Just know, my mom tells me, if you bring this pink soccer ball to practice, there might be some kids who don't agree with your preference, and you might not fit in. I don't want you to have to get bullied. That's fine. They're welcome to think what they want. I got in, pleased with my selection and ready to bear the brunt of those who would tease. Even back then, I wasn't a fan of that ideology, but I had to grapple with the fact that there was a chance I could be kept down for preferring a hot pink ball to a sky blue one. Lo and behold, my beloved fuchsia sphere and I were perfectly accepted. The result that my mom feared had thankfully never come to fruition. Although I only attended 2 practices before I quit, I'll be able to keep the memory of when I had the opportunity to hang out with other kids who refreshingly weren't the bullies my mom feared them to be, resonating in me to the end of time. This positive experience that my 8-year-old self had was repeated at the beginning of my freshman year. It's a week before school begins, and I'm sitting next to my dad on our black leather couch, preparing in the classic week before scramble phase, in which we scramble to get everything together the week before school begins. My dad informs me that transitioning to high school will require me to acquire a larger backpack, and that I should take a look at his phone to find one that I'm happy with. I scroll through the Walmart app, bored with all the color options, when something special catches my eye. A sleek JanSport black backpack with rainbow highlights. It was perfect. However, just like when I was in Dick's Sporting Goods buying that pink soccer ball with my mom, the warning came again, this time from my father regarding the colorful lining of the backpack. I promise I don't care. I tell him I'll be fine. Despite my outward confidence, I still felt a bit on edge from his warning, yet the backpack was purchased. A week later, I step into Herr Geary's room on the first day of school, and voila, there's no backlash from the other students about a boy having a rainbow backpack. The shy freshman inside me remains grateful to the faceless students of years past who took the time to compliment my bag, back when I was just a stuttering student stalking his way down Maeser's halls. This is the Maeser I'd love to look back on. The Maeser that is a welcoming community where a jock can enjoy science and a nerd can play soccer, where all genres can be explored, from the prim and proper, etiquette-challenging Pride and Prejudice to the more controversial work of Gone with the Wind, or the Homeric epics like the Iliad. I remember fondly the seniors and juniors and sophomores and freshmen who strove to be friends with everyone, including the underclassmen. The friendly words of hype and encouragement in the locker room, firing me up for volleyball, the people pushing me out of my comfort zone, helping me find the actor within. The conversations shared over lunch, allowing me to feel accepted in my community. I remember it all. It could be as simple as smiling someone past in the hall, the offering of a few kind words every once in a while, or showing up for peers at their games and performances. Before I go, I hope to inspire others to foster the accepting environment that I've grown to love over the 4 years it's spent fostering me, where even a boy can like rainbows.
October 6th, 2023 was a Friday. Fall air rushed around me. The air was hot and mild wind carried the sense of fallen leaves and dry dirt. I sat under the shade of the large tree at the back of the school on the tiled bench made by a winter group the year earlier. Snot streamed down my face, tears fell continuously from my eyes, and my whole body shook with sobs. Today was my birthday, and the night before, my mom had pulled out an old photo album to reminisce on how much I had grown. A little girl, about 5 years old, with golden blonde hair, bright blue eyes, a squeaky little voice, and a beautiful, joy-filled smile. She enjoyed doing cartwheels on the grass, and she loved singing along while her dad played the piano. She was outside all the time and had the sunburn and freckles to prove it. That carefree little girl felt far away. Snapped back to the present, it was my 17th birthday, and I felt like I was drowning. My body felt heavy, and my eyes saw the world through an overcast filter. I was stranded in my own tiny little skull-sized kingdom. Every time I tried to do something I thought would help me feel better, it didn't. Maybe if I could muster the energy to exercise, I would feel better. But I didn't. Maybe if I could lift myself up from my bedroom floor to hang out with friends, I'd be happy again. But I wasn't. I knew that I needed to reach for the fruit of hope, but every time I tried, the branch recoiled from my grasp. Constantly reaching and striving to get back to some sense of normalcy was exhausting. If it didn't help when I mustered the strength to hang out with people, then why bother hanging out at all? As I withdrew even further within myself, the isolation presented some scary questions. Did I bring anything to the world? Did my friends even like being around me? Was I a burden to my friends and family? How could anyone love me? Sitting on that tiled bench in the shade on my birthday, I remembered that little carefree girl with a joy-filled smile, and I felt a deep, profound love for her. I loved that little girl. I might hate myself right now, but I can't hate her. She was too nice, too fun, too innocent to be angry at. She deserved only love. And if that little Taylor from the past deserved love, then the Taylor of today does too. That's when something changed for me. I realized that I can love myself because I love her. I can honestly say that I love myself now, but I'm still learning how to believe it when I say it, and I'm still learning how to show it. And that's okay. Even if it's not perfect, just loving yourself the best that you can is beautiful. So for anyone who might be struggling in a similar situation, if you feel like you can't love yourself now, maybe try remembering that younger version of you. The you who liked cartwheels in the grass, or climbing trees, or playing on monkey bars deserves your love. The you who liked having dance parties and playing Legos and building forts deserves love. You who made potions with mud and torn up leaves, who sang silly songs and jumped in puddles deserves love. Since then, you've probably had more struggles, and you've certainly made some more mistakes. But if that little version of you deserves love, then you do too.
All right. I have FOMO. If you don't know what that is, it's an acronym for a fear of missing out. I know for a fact all of you have experienced this before, so you know how terrible a feeling it is. Watching and smiling awkwardly at an inside joke your friends made is a canon event. Mine didn't start until my 8th grade year, when a group of guys adopted me like a lost puppy and added me to the group chat named Beppis. Completely unaware of how pivotal these people would be in my life, my freshman year came in the blink of an eye. And little did the ladies know the dapper man they would get to experience every day of 9th grade. I did my hair every morning, put on deodorant. I was ready to work my charm. Unfortunately, I think my charm is broken because nothing seemed to work. I was perfectly fine with that though, because I finally made it to high school. No more nutritious lunches from your mom. I got gas station food now. It was all amazing until I experienced the Maeser bug. Now if you say you don't know what the Maeser bug is, you do. It's the question every Maeser student since the beginning of the school has asked. What if I went to a public school instead? After that question popped into my head, the FOMO piled on, and it continued to pile year after year, wondering what it would be like to experience a mosh pit with more than 20 people, or what it would be like to go to a real high school party. These questions floated through my mind, bouncing off the walls of my skull, constantly reminding me of what I'm missing out on. As days, months, and years passed, the question continued to reverberate through my head. What if I went to a public school? Until my senior year came, and a new question took place in the old one. Why am I still at Maeser? I could have left years ago, but for some unknown reason, I'm still here. What's the reason that I'm still at the school that makes me read old books that have never made sense, but that makes me reenact a memorized scene from Hamlet? We don't even have a scoreboard for our soccer field, and that's our main sport. I've found every reason to leave, but for some reason, I just can't do it. Now I'm nearing the end of my 6-year run at Maeser, and as you can see, I've decided to push aside my fear of missing out to stay at the school. Not because I had already stayed here for multiple years and thought I might as well just stick it out for a little bit longer, but because I don't need 300 unnamed people at my school dance when I have 20 of my best friends to have fun with. Or why would I want to go to a real high school party when I could sit in Lambert's pool having Socratic discussions with friends after exhausting ourselves from multiple rounds of sock game? I have everything I could want here, and yet the question still plagues me, what if I missed out on something? Well, I did miss out by going to Maeser, there's no question about it. But the thought of what if has disappeared, along with my FOMO and the family I found here at Maeser. The same group chat named Beppis is still going strong 6 years later. The connections and relationships you find at Maeser are qualities you can't find anywhere else. I've come to realize we never missed out on much. We were never the ones missing out.
I always thought of makeup as my rite of passage, the ultimate glow-up, if you will. I told myself that once I started wearing makeup, I'd try to fit in. I'd be one of the prettiest girls in school, someone who had it all together. I believed that once I looked the part, I'd become the person I always dreamed of being. Perfect. I'm not sure where this idea came from, only that the people who seemed the most confident all wore makeup. That little lie got me through the bad days, the days I didn't like who I was. I believed putting on makeup would fix everything, but I never even bought makeup until last month. On April 14th, I said, screw it. I dragged my sister Sophie, a makeup expert in my amateur eyes, to the store and bought everything. Blush, foundation, mascara, if you can name it, I bought it. I was finally ready to become the person of me I'd always wanted to be. Did I know who that person was? Not really, but I knew she wore makeup. The morning after consisted of the following process. Foundation first, then concealer. Wait, but I've seen videos where people apply concealer first. Wipe the foundation off, apply the concealer, then reapply the foundation. Then add the extremely pigmented blush that Sophie swore by. Wait, no, that was too much blush. More foundation to cover up the blush. Wait, but now it's not enough blush. Reapply the blush. Okay, it looks good enough, I think. Highlighter, where do I put the highlighter? I don't know, I'm just gonna put it on my nose, but not the corner of my eyes because Sophie told me that that trend is out. Next, I have to put on mascara. Okay, not too bad. Now to bring the whole look together with the lip gloss. I've trusted the process this far, why not trust it a little more? This color is too dark for school. I feel like I'm going to a nightclub. What was I doing? Who was I trying to be? I went to school with my new look, feeling like a fraud. People looked at me, maybe even whispered, she doesn't belong, I imagined. Did anyone actually say that? No, I even got compliments. But instead of feeling empowered, I felt less like myself than ever. Now you might think that this is going to turn into a typical, the only person who can love you is yourself lesson. But as I stand here with a full face of makeup and hair fried into a perfect curl, I can tell you, it's not. The shift from trying makeup to depending on it happened faster than I expected. It became my mask. Something to hide behind so no one would see the truth. I am insecure. I don't feel good about myself. I do this with a lot of things. I obsess over my problems until I can convince myself that they can be solved with a simple fix. Like those 5-minute craft videos where they glue a piece of paper over a basketball-sized hole and we'll call it a day. It looks fine from a distance, but anyone standing close enough knows that the hole is still there. You can feel the draft. The wall needs real insulation, not a quick cover-up. That's what I did with makeup. I covered up my insecurities with bronzer and contour, but once I realized that makeup was just paper on the wall, I couldn't unsee the hole behind it. Covering it didn't solve anything, it only delayed the real fix. And the truth is, no amount of blending can patch what needs to be rebuilt from the inside out. I still wear makeup, I'm still insecure, but the difference is, I don't expect it to fix me anymore. Makeup didn't transform me into the perfect person I imagined. It didn't delete my self-doubt or make me love the girl in the mirror. It just gave me something to hide behind until I got tired of hiding. Admitting you have a problem isn't the end of the world, it's the beginning of understanding it. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real glow-up begins.
I'm not done yet. It was 9th grade, I was home, and it happened to be excessively late in the evening. It was dark, and I was staring at my backpack like it was Pandora's box. A treasure trove of pain and wisdom, exhaustion and pride through the lies. I had just done a semester's worth of science homework in a single Wednesday afternoon. The lab book was still on my desk, its purple cover like an ugly bruise to my tired eyes. The kitchen clock read 1 a.m. I still had 8 chapters of the Iliad to annotate before first period tomorrow. But I just stared at my backpack, at the abyss I blinked at, trying to raise my hand for it, I couldn't. I didn't have anything left. No gas in the tank, no more fuel in the fire. I wasn't able to move a muscle. I couldn't think, couldn't even breathe. I just stared at my backpack, an abyss made of my own expectations, until I felt something slimy rub my leg. Yelping in surprise, I looked down to see my dog, Bones, as he continues to lick a random spot on my calf. I close my eyes and take a second to breathe. Opening my eyes, I bend over to pet him, and as I do, I smile. My eyes flicked to my backpack, but I turned them back to my dog. I open my mouth and say to the dopey creature, I am not done yet. I am not done yet, Bones. He just looks at me with his silly dog face. Packing up my homework, I head to my couch. As I am lying there, snuggled up with dog and blanket, warmth returned to my limbs, cheek rubbing against the couch's soft back, I say again, I am not done yet. And strangely enough, after saying that, I felt invigorated, even as I fell asleep. I am not done yet isn't the mantra that got me through Maeser. It's what's guided me to life and adventure. Everyone knows how it feels to fail at Maeser, how every Socratic project not turned in feels like such a horrible portrait of your character. Every missed assignment is a zero screaming at you, saying you're worthless, you're not good enough to be here. You'll never be good enough for anything, for anyone. But everyone, even if it's just a handful of times, even if they're hard to remember, has had a truly Maeser-specific blessing, a Maeser-specific smile. Staying up way past bedtime because you have to know what happens to Odysseus. Being 2 weeks behind in the curriculum because, for some reason, Mr. Gilbert keeps checking to see not just your class, but you specifically understand how to balance equations. Coming home, irate after Socratic because you were going to say something super profound about the difference between justice and mercy, but some guy got called instead. To those newer to Maeser asking, does the work ever let up? Will I ever stop leaving things to the last moment? I'd say, no, not usually. But the hard does become the normal, and if you let it, the normal can become the beautiful. Connectivity is a fundamental principle of education. Students have to see the connection, the relevance of one chapter of history to another. Connectivity is hard to maintain, especially over multiple years, over multiple teachers. Connecting all the good, connecting all the bad in your life with all the good. But I stand before you now with the solution. When you fail a math final so hard you don't get a Lintram, say, I am not done yet. When you feel your favorite teacher is disappointed because you're not on top of your reading, say, I am not done yet. When after years of summer school, you make the honor roll for AB Math, say, I am not done yet. When Ms., who you always felt you've disappointed, hands you a Pizza Pie Cafe coupon which reads, Amazing Human Award, smile and say, I am not done yet. This phrase says many things at once. It says, the best is yet to come. It says, never give up. It says, I have climbed mountains and run through flames to be who I am. It says, I have suffered and felt the pain of life, but I can see how that pain has brought me to goodness, to greatness. And I am willing to suffer the bad because I know it leads to the brightest good. Thank you.
High school was not like High School Musical. High School was not like High School Musical. High School Musical was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I was extremely excited to have my own High School Musical experience. It is now the end of my senior year, and I can confidently say it's not the same. It would be a massive understatement to say my senior year was difficult. I had always dreamed about my senior year, and this is not how I pictured it. 2 days before my senior year, circumstances required me to move out of my house. This meant a new city, a new family, and a new last name. Never in a million years did I expect to begin the first day of school already depressed. This was not going to be my High School Musical I dreamed of. I was just wallowing in my sadness and crying almost every day. I couldn't see the positive. Then one day, everything changed. As I was lying in bed thinking about how hard my life was, I decided that I could make it better. Through my life, even though my life was falling apart, I was determined to find 3 good things every day. I knew this was going to be hard, but I was going to do it anyway. August 26th. Me and my best friends had an epic sing-along to the High School Musical soundtrack. Our class had a great discussion in Socratic, and I also went to Target and someone complimented me. November 13th, the sunrise was magnificent. My family cooked an amazing breakfast, and swig at lunch is always a win. Throughout the years, the list got longer and longer. February 1st, went to a jazz game, had a fantastic french fries, and was around all my favorite people. Yesterday, May 6th, woke up in a decent mood, got swig, 3 people complimented my hair, I ate goldfish in Socratic, had a lovely chat with Miss Cannon, and I have 30 things on this list. Finding the good requires a lot of mental and physical work, especially when life doesn't feel fair. Often it is much easier to wallow in anger and sadness than to focus on the positive. In life we will always find what we're looking for. With a great deal of effort, even on the worst days, I could always identify at least 3 good things. When life became hard, a positive mindset can make all the difference. In Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, he says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. I had to have an open mind to find the bright. It can always make a difference. So here's my challenge for you. Write down at least 3 good things in your day. They can be big or small, even the little. Focus on the positive. So no, I haven't fallen in love with my own Troy Bolin. No, there's no one girl named Sharpay causing drama, and people don't randomly burst into song in the cafeteria. No, my high school experience was not like High School Musical, but in my own way, with swig runs, goldfish, fun chats, and small moments, I created my very own version of High School Musical. Thank you.
Sorry. Hello, 70s, and hello, freshmen. I'm here to give you advice. A send-off for my time at Maeser and a pep talk for yours. What advice do I have for you? Incredible advice. Advice of the kind only I can give. Irony poisoned. My first piece of advice is to remember that your worth, both as a student and as a human being, is based entirely on your grades. How hard you worked or whether or not you did your best is irrelevant. If you turned in your final late, or if your writing for your Hamlet reflection doesn't sufficiently understand the text, you're a bad person. You honestly should just stop trying if you ever get anything below a B. Now, on a different note, do not do your Socratic readings. In 9th grade, Peterson is gone, so I can admit this, I only read like 2.5 of the books we had over the course of the year, and it was great. I got absolutely nothing out of that class, losing any lessons I could have learned from the Aeneid or Gawain and the Green Knight, and I had a whole extra 15 minutes each day where I could sit and stare out of a car window watching the same buildings whiz by as they always do during my 30-minute commute. Now, in terms of non-academic advice, I suppose the most important is to not be yourself. Be Lord Dowdle. That's what I did. And look how incredibly cool and attractive and competent and hardworking and cool I am. Getting your friends to like you is easy too. Simply base the way you act entirely upon what your friend group defines as base and cringe. If your friends think hatred is base, don't question that at all. Just be blindly bigoted. If your friends think you're being cringe when you act like yourself and express your interests, stop being yourself and start being Lord Dowdle. We've been over this. In 7th grade, I was part of a Shakespeare competition in the ensemble. For our scene, we all had spears, and every time someone dropped one, Gerber would yell, "I earned a stick, do 10 push-ups." In response, some 40-odd middle schoolers grumbled as they went to the floor. I want you to drop your stick as often as possible. Make things intentionally harder for yourself and those around you, because your friends need the exercise anyway. Was that too sarcastic? Was that just a gimmick to mask cliche advice? Perhaps going through high school with a mask of irony that stays glued to your face, even when giving your last lecture, is unhealthy. A lack of sincerity can distance yourself from those around you. If everything you say is a bit, no one knows the real you. But opening up is dangerous. It feels exposing. Even as I write this, I keep having the urge to flip this into a joke. a release of tension that would make this paragraph less serious. But if I do, I'll have written a last lecture without a drop of sincerity, without any of me in it. I don't want that. I want people to know that I'm a person who cares deeply and has real emotions, but it's just so much easier to jokingly insult my friends instead of telling them how much they mean to me, and to act in turn like their jibes don't hurt. Even with the friends I'm closest with rarely see this mask come off, even airing its insincerity. Last piece of advice. A real piece of advice this time. No gimmick to mask it. Don't listen to those other tips. In fact, you should probably do the opposite of what they say. But listen to this one. Do not lose yourself to irony. Use it supplementally for an occasional joke. Do not let yourself use it so much that you don't know what's underneath the layers of mockery. Part of truth, honor, virtue is being honest about what you really feel, both with others and with yourself. So goodbye, Maeser. I'll miss you and your hand-me-down chairs. I'll miss room 210, my dad's classroom. I'll miss room 115, the computer lab. I'll miss room 126, the drama room. And I'll miss the important conversations I've had with them. Perhaps that's sappy, cringe even, but it is sincere. To all my friends I've been ironically cruel to, I'm sorry. I care about you more than you know, and I will miss you. Thank you.
I'm about to tell you the greatest love story of all time. It started when I was in kindergarten. Not preschool, because I don't remember that far back. But back then, I was on fire. I was sitting on my assigned dot on the rug next to Paige, a classmate. She didn't really know me, and I didn't know her, but we were friends because it was kindergarten. Suddenly, I decided to lean over and kiss her right on the cheek. I never saw her again. In 3rd grade, my fake girlfriend was Rachel. We broke up after a week. In 6th grade, I wrote I love you in Leah's yearbook. It was not reciprocated. Finally, in 9th grade, my crush ended up dating a senior. Blow after blow came, and they taught me 2 things. My emotions make me act in unpredictable ways, and when I let them take over, not even I can control where I'm going. I was scared, so I poured water over my fire. I watched as the ashy gray liquid of my consciousness drowned out any light I saw. I forced myself to stop feeling. It felt good to not have to deal with the pain around me anymore. I could ignore the drama from my friends and focus on my homework. Wait, I can't focus. I can do it later. I'll just read. I'm going out to dinner with my family. Yay. I fell deeper and deeper into this pit I dug for myself, until I couldn't see the light at the top of my tunnel. Love and life turned gray. I was scared of my light, and I didn't want to get burned again, so I buried the little charcoal left of myself in darkness. But then one day, I saw a spark. With the support of my parents, I decided I wanted to try again. Slowly, I worked to build a ladder from the ashes of my emotions. I started with the things I know. God loves me. My family loves me. Do I love myself? I couldn't answer, but still I tried. The negative emotions came back first. As a sophomore, I hid in a corner at a friend's house, believing that no one would care enough to come look for me. And when they did, I swiftly rejoined and pretended that nothing had happened. Another time I spent an entire conversation making self-deprecating jokes that didn't make anyone laugh. Junior year, I resorted to insulting my friends, poking and prodding at their insecurities just to get them mad at me. I wanted them to understand just how hopeless I was. If I had a fire, it was roaring and sputtering, trying to burn its own fuel in self-destruction. I wanted to return to being unfeeling, but some part of me wouldn't give up again. Slowly, my hope returned. I allowed myself to believe it was okay to fail. No longer crying in my room for no reason, I spent time with my friends without exploding into random emotions. I started to believe in myself again. I started to love myself again. My life became a fire, burning with all of my hurts, happiness, anxieties, love. The night of the sweetheart senior year was when I first allowed myself to have a crush again, and it was completely different. Yes, I still had anxiety about what she thought of me, and yes, I still acted unpredictably stupid. But this time, I worked through it, building upon our relationship instead of destroying it, having a conversation without berating myself, and feeling unbelievably happy when she asked me out for another date. It didn't matter if my emotions controlled me sometimes. I didn't need to be cold and emotionless. I could feel. It doesn't matter if my friends treat me like trash or force me to make impossible decisions. I can feel. Even if fiery brimstone rains from the heavens to destroy me, it doesn't matter. I will feel. Armed with my emotions, I will work through anything. So keep that fire burning. Emotions are the greatest part of living. Don't hide them because they're hard to deal with. Let them thrive. The world tells you that you need to be cool and emotionless. Well, I say, you don't need to be cool. Let yourself feel, and your life can burn bright and vivid, providing light for those still struggling in the darkness. It won't be easy. My fight is still going on, but it'll be worth it, because we can feel.
It was a loud, dusty morning in Buenos Aires, Argentina, when my dad's family made the bravest decision of their lives. They boxed up years of memories, hugged their loved ones goodbye, and squeezed into the back of a plane, leaving everything familiar. At the same moment, my mom and abuela left the port of Dayton, Nicaragua, climbed into the back of a bus, and escaped the socialist revolution that had erupted across the country. They left home for the unknown so future generations could dream beyond borders. And their journey felt endless. Días, horas, minutos, bus after bus, train after train, and boat after boat. My own story begins here, where I was given opportunities my parents never had and sometimes took for granted. I landed in classrooms they can only imagine during late night cuentos before bed. Transitioning from a public school to Maeser was a shock. The workload felt overwhelming, and I spent countless nights in tears struggling with math problems, trying to understand the Epic of Gilgamesh, and crying at the sight of Chinese characters that reminded me I had chosen the wrong language class. Desks were arranged in Socratic circles, teachers quoted Shakespeare, and homework scattered across every surface of my desk. During lunch, I sat in the corner comparing my shaky confidence with others' bold opinionated voices. I thought about quitting because it felt like the easy way out. Why? It's simple. I had zero motivation. I felt empty inside. The emptiness echoed louder than a school bell. My thoughts took over and convinced me I wasn't enough. I worried something was wrong with me because I didn't stand out. Then I remembered why I was here. My parents' sacrifice and my grandparents' love. On a hot, humid August afternoon, I visited my sick abuelo. I hugged him tight, unsure it would be our last goodbye. He pulled me close and whispered, his voice trembling, "Me gusta provecho de regalo, the wasted gift." I carried those 4 words out of Nicaragua and into the halls of Maeser. A year later, before my abuela passed, we sat on the couch each day while I felt the same insecurities, grades, stress, and the fear of raising my hand and sharing what I know to be true. She smiled and says, "Vos tenés el poder en todo. You hold the power in everything." Their words filled my empty spaces and gave me purpose. None of this would have been possible without their sacrifices, their powerful words, and their encouraging example. Their legacy will help me finish what they started. I like to picture myself in the past, sitting on a squeaky rocking chair, breathing fresh tropical air, hearing a brave-tailed grackle chirp, sipping cold cacao, and feeling the warmth of family all around me. That image fills me with gratitude. I often reflect on the millions of students who battle financial pressures, distance, and family duties just to reach a classroom. How could I be so quick to give up? My family came to the U.S., so I wouldn't face the same barriers they did. I never had to wake up at 5 a.m. for work, wondering if dinner would be put on the table that night, or not having someone there for me. Everything I need is right in front of me, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing stopping me from achieving my goals and dreams. And that's my motivation. Let it be yours too. Our families move mountains for us because they love and believe in us. They are already proud of us, even if they don't show it in the way we expected. Every page we read, every math problem we solve, every paragraph we improvise is a thank you to the family who sacrificed for us. Keep pouring your heart into every sentence, every essay, and every dream. Soon we will cross the finish line they marked out for us. They are cheering at every corner, whether in heaven or on earth, loud or in silent. No lograste, you did it.
I'm Grant Johnson, and this is Grant Rules. Curtain opens, scene 1. They call it the Grant Rule. At Bingham High School, whenever a specific person cannot stop talking while important things are happening, they employ it. When it's enacted on someone, it means no one is allowed to talk to them, because telling that person to shut up isn't working, and they'll stop at some point if no one responds. Spotlight. This is my legacy. The Grant Rule was invented by Mr. Holtz to try to combat the spazzy nuisance that was me in prepubescent. Cut! Cue the flashback sequence. My fatal flaw is an inability to shut up, and my habit of yelling only makes things worse. Mr. Simmons learned this the hard way in Socratic. I spent about 40% of that class sleeping, and 60% making obnoxious, unhelpful, and minimally amusing comments. At 9 in the morning, when everyone else was using their brain, there was 410 bug-eyed Grant Johnson insulting Mr. Simmons. He used to point to the poster about what makes a quality Socratic comment and ask, "Did that move the conversation forward?" I admitted every time that, in fact, it did not. But at some point, my brain sputtered to life like a dormant lawnmower, and I realized having a rule named after me meant I had reason to self-reflect. Having Simmons remind me for maybe the millionth time that there is a time and place for my knee-slapping jokes made me address the issue. For the first time in my life, I was self-aware. Pause for applause. This was a pivotal step in my journey to being a less embarrassing person. Self-awareness was the greatest thing that's ever happened for my personal growth. No part of my life was left untouched by improvement. But freshman year wasn't when I was done learning that lesson. It was only the beginning. The next scene in my journey to self-awareness was sophomore year. Plopping down on my couch, I crack open Les Mis, ready to do some major catching up. As per usual, I'm behind and under the impression that I'm too cool for school. In reality, I was lacking the cool part. I just wasn't aware enough to know that I was being schooled. So I'm lazily flipping through my unabridged brick when I read about Jean Valjean transforming himself into a better person thanks to the bishop's assistance. It jabbed me in the throat. Gosh, I want to become a better version of myself. Like the Grinch's heart growing 3 sizes that day, my brain ballooned in proportion. Or at least that's how it felt. I took a massive step back to examine myself and found what I could work on. It started with little steps, like actually doing my reading when I was supposed to. Whether it was how much time I spent outside or how infrequently I fought with my sister, I was getting better. My progress was slower than the Maeser internet, but I was improving. Scene 3, the finale. I returned for my junior year as Grant 2.0, a changed man. To the people around me, it was noticeable how much I'd grown. They pointed out how much I'd mellow out or acted more maturely. Granted, the bar had been below the ground. Later, Mr. Holtz and I chatted at the Shakespeare competition, and when he joked that the Grant Rule didn't line up with me anymore, I knew I made it. Cue the confetti. I know I haven't reached my final form yet, but sporadic growth has brought me closer. I couldn't have done this without Maeser and the community it houses. Thank you to all the faculty members who helped tame Hurricane Grant, especially Simmons for his subtle and not so subtle nudges in the right direction. Thanks to Maeser, I would go through the rest of my life knowing I can step back, examine myself, and grow. I am proud of who I am now, despite not being perfect. Yet. Cut stage lights, cue ruckus applause.